Adam Montgomery is still denying that he had anything to do with the horrifying death of his daughter, Harmony, and he even took the chance at another sentencing to buckle down on this, and we're going to talk about it in today's video. Hello Sofa Squad and welcome back to the sofa. That's the sofa behind me and my name's Paul and this is little Mr. Roscoe. Now as you saw in the thumbnail and the little intro I just did, we're going to be talking about Adam Montgomery, also known as the, I don't even want to call him father, but the person responsible allegedly for what took place to little Harmony Montgomery. Now the way we're going to do this video is I'm going to be first of all putting up a couple of articles just to kind of talk about how we arrived at this video and the information, and then I'm going to be looking at and talking about, reacting, whatever you want to call it, to some clips of his sentencing. Because when I saw this, I was like, oh, whoa, oh, alrighty. Recently, some documents were released and whatnot that went further into detail as to most likely what has taken place with Harmony. Absolutely bone-chilling what this poor little girl went through in her short time here on Earth. It's absolutely horrifying. Now, the sentencing that we're looking at today is not related to Harmony. That goes down in November. We're going to talk about a little overview here in a second. This is sentencing and unrelated gun charges. And in fact, let's go ahead and take a minute, look through a couple of articles just to talk about like how we're here or whatever. So the first one that we are going to look at is going to be just the headline of it. And as you see here, this is one of his former photos. You'll see he looks quite different, bigger beard, that kind of thing when we look at his little video clips. But it says the father accused of killing Harmony Montgomery is convicted on unrelated gun charges. So let's go ahead and just look at a quick overview of what those are. Now this says Manchester, New Hampshire. New Hampshire father charged in the murder of his missing 5-year-old daughter Harmony Montgomery was convicted of unrelated gun charges Thursday. Now this is previous because the sentencing just happened. This is a jury found Adam Montgomery, 33, guilty of 6 charges, okay? 2 counts each of being an armed career criminal, receiving stolen property, and theft. The Hillsborough County jury got the case Wednesday afternoon after a trial in Superior Court that lasted several days. Montgomery was accused of having a shotgun and a rifle, even though he has multiple felony convictions in New Hampshire and Massachusetts. He pleaded not guilty. A sentencing date has not been set. Well, the sentencing date's here. Okay, it's come and gone. And the judge did not show any mercy. Well, maybe a little bit, depending on what your version of mercy is, but he ain't budging for a while. Okay. Now, let's very quickly talk about poor little Harmony, okay? Because again, that hasn't happened yet. So it says, regarding Harmony, Adam Montgomery pleaded not guilty in October to second-degree murder, falsifying physical evidence, and abuse of a corpse charges. Authorities allege that he killed Harmony by repeatedly striking her in the head with his fist. He's scheduled for trial in that case in November. Okay, so that's going to be coming up. Harmony hasn't been seen since late 2019, but authorities didn't know she was missing until November 2021. Last year, police announced they believe that she was killed in Manchester in early December 2019. Her remains have not been found. Now, here is the tragic thing, and again, we're not going to get too far in depth with it. However, I will give a trigger warning if this type of information and whatnot, especially involving children, is upsetting to you. Probably, this video ain't for you, okay? But like I said, those documents came out recently. I did a video on them that went into details, some of the evidence that's come out as to what happened with her, most likely how, he took her life, and then what was done with her remains. And it's literally, it's not even human. I mean, honestly, it's absolutely horrible. I feel so bad for her poor little soul. God rest it. And, I'll be very curious to see what happens in court with him, because here's the thing. Let's go off on a sofa side note here for a second. I understand that everybody, has their right to a trial and all this. I get that. That's our justice system. I stand behind it and believe in it. Now, here's the thing. For him to do all these things and be like, take it to trial and all this kind of stuff with evidence that's just not good, right? Even these gun charges, right? It's like, you took that to trial? Maybe they weren't offering him a plea deal. I don't know. But it's just terrible. So I shudder to think the things that are going to come out on the witness stand for poor little Harmony's trial. Now, of course, we want justice, right? But it's just sad that he can't even give that to her, and let her rest in peace, right? It's just, it's like, plead guilty, just go away, dude. You're not going to get out ever again. You know what I'm saying? But he's claiming that he didn't do it, and so there's that. Now, let's go ahead. Let's move into the current thing, the sentencing for these gun charges. I just have a few clips pulled up here, and I'm going to get them ready over here. Now, what I want to do is, the first thing we're going to focus on is what he had to say. Okay, so you know how this goes at sentencing. The state gets up and it's like, look, no minimum mandatory. We want the biggest charge you can give him. Don't do the minimum sentencing, do the maximum. The defense gets up there and it's like, oh, give him a chance and all this stuff, And then for whatever reason, unbeknownst to me, he decided to speak, right? They always want to speak. And they always make it 10 times worse for themselves. But if that helps bring justice, then so be it, right? So the first clip we're going to watch is Adam. He's going to speak and have something to say. Now, there is like this kind of background noise to the clip. So just know that. It's kind of annoying, I'm not going to lie. But just understand that. And so let's let the tape roll.
Adam would like to address you.
So, I understand that I was found guilty by a jury, and I'm not here to dispute that at all. The only consideration that I ask of you this morning is for you not to consider anything as it relates to the case regarding my daughter Harmony. I did not kill my daughter Harmony, and I look forward to my upcoming trial to refute those offensive claims. Probably won't believe me when I tell you that I didn't wake up one morning and choose to become an addict. I don't want to be an addict. And I will spend my time in prison utilizing it to the best of my ability to change things about myself. I could have had a meaningful life, and I blew that opportunity through drugs. But I loved my daughter unconditionally, and I did not kill her. Please don't consider anything that relates to those charges. Only consider the facts to this case.
Well, a few things. First of all, I'm curious, what was he looking at so intently, right? He kept going. Like, I feel like he was looking at the state, right? And they'll have something to say, and we're going to listen to what the state has to say about that in a second. Now, a couple of things here. So, again, I look at this on both sides. He's going to get up there talking about, just sentence me. Don't take that into consideration. Personally, okay, so I get that, right? You're up against these charges. You have these really even more horrifying charges over here about, poor little Harmony. So of course it's in the back of your mind, like, well, they're going to take that into consideration. Come on, right? However, I would also think that it's a little bit of an insult to the court for a defendant to say something like that, because it would almost be like unprofessional, right? Like, what judge is going to go there and be like, you know what, you're right. I was actually considering a completely unrelated case to this, but I won't do it now that you asked me to. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it is what it is. So, that being said, secondly, I didn't kill these offensive charges and so this tells us one thing. Clearly, he's still denying it. I'm very curious, okay, what he has to say. Because the evidence and eyewitness testimony is not good in this as to what happened to poor little Harmony, okay? Like, people were around when this happened, okay? It wasn't like just something in secret. I mean, it was like, there are witnesses to this. So I'm not quite sure what he plans on saying to get out of that, but we'll get to that. Of course, he's going to deny this. The man is getting ready to be sentenced to a very lengthy prison sentence. If you are new to true crime or this world or whatever, just know that people with charges like his against children, against women, especially against children, do not bode well in prison, okay? So for him to kind of be this, Mr. Tough Guy, going on down the line for as long as he is with those kind of charges hanging over him, it's not going to be easy time, okay, at all. Someone like him is not going to want to check in and spend their time in that kind of vibe, right? At all. So, of course, he's going to deny it. And I always am curious about this, and I'm curious if anyone wants to share their story or knowledge or experience or whatever. When an inmate like this goes to jail or prison, I'm convicted on these gun charges, like whatever, But I also have these, very bad crimes that don't bode well with other inmates, but they're hanging over my head. Does inmate justice come only after the conviction comes, even if he's saying I didn't do it, but most everybody says they didn't do it, or is it like they're going to wait to see what happens before true inmate justice comes. You know, that type thing. Because I just don't buy that. Okay, that being said, let's move it along and let's listen to what the state has to say in response to his statement.
Anything further?
Just very briefly, Your Honor, the state is also looking forward to that trial coming up this fall, and we agree that you should be doing the sentence based upon the ones that are in front of you. We also could talk about 16 years of violations of parole and probation, so the idea of a suspended sentence here for the theft by unauthorized taking has absolutely no power.
I love how the state was like, oh, we're looking forward to that trial too. I mean, again, I'm telling you, the evidence is overwhelming, okay? It's not a cute look, you know, and then when they're like, well, we could talk about 16 years of this and that, because one thing that's taken place is the defense has gotten up there, and as a defense attorney is going to do, right? They're trying to argue for suspended sentences, and, you know, yes, we get you have to sentence him to this minimum amount of time, but just make it that. Let's do concurrent, you know, A, B, C, and D kind of a thing. Well, we're talking a career criminal here, right? I mean, again, we're not taking the thing into harmony, into consideration, even excluding that. Pretend that wasn't even part of it. This man's rap sheet and offenses and stuff, it's not good, okay? But again, I understand the defense is going to get up there and try and advocate for their client. It's what they do. It's what they should do, right? So there's that. Now, let's listen to what the judge had to say about the sentence.
The concern that any sentence imposed today would be taking that into consideration. And I want to tell you that the court is not. You will have your trial on that. You're being sentenced today on these armed career criminal and theft charges that you've already been found guilty of.
Now, I appreciate that she just very quickly addressed this first part, right? And was just like, look, we're not taking that into consideration. This is what you're being, you know, you've been found guilty of these gun charges. That's a whole other thing, you know, but let's get down to business to what is at stake here, what you're getting sentenced for, and now.
Therefore, the court is going to sentence you to to 15 to 30 years on each of the armed career criminal charges consecutive to each other. On the theft cases, what I'm going to do on those is you'll get a 7.5 to 15 year stand committed sentence. 5 years of each of those sentences will be suspended, conditioned on your good behavior and compliance with the terms and conditions of the sentencing order. And I will tell you that I am doing that because, given your history, I want something to incentivize you to be of good conduct while you are at the prison. And if you are not of good conduct or you commit other crimes while you are incarcerated, the state can move to impose that suspended portion of your sentences. So on each of the theft charges, they'll be concurrent with each other, but they will be consecutive to the armed career criminal charges.
Woo! Mercy. I mean, when I tell you what, so a couple of things about the sentence. So you heard her. She, in my opinion, she threw the book at him, right? In a very nice, polite way, though. You know, 15 to 30 years consecutive, and then those theft charges, the 7 to 10 thing, concurrent. So there's that. The proof is in the pudding with what she said. I want there to be something hanging over your head to incentivize you to be a decent human being, right? There's that. So you already know at this point, she's like a girl. And now, okay. I mean, this is a judge who is like, I've seen it all and I might somewhat, you know, believe in like rehabilitation. But with this one, we're going to need to really see a lot of action. Now, here's the thing, okay? He ain't no spring chicken, right? And I'm not trying to say he's old or anything like that. God knows I'm in my 40s. But when you start stacking time upon time like that, you know, and again, even though we're not taking into consideration, we haven't even gotten to the Harmony trial, right? That could literally, you know, be the seal of his fate. Now, here's the thing, too. And this is a good thing because, honestly, you know, his actions have not really shown that he's a rehabilitated or, you know, has a desire to, right? Again, we're excluding the Harmony thing in these statements right here. So for that part right there, like, just get out of our mind for 1 second. So you get these charges right here. And then after that, you know, you go through there. So say he's found not guilty in Harmony. Well, this is going to ensure that he's not going to see the light of day for quite some time. So it's like, if you really want to change, you're going to do it. You know what I'm saying? And so, but he's going to have to really want it. And that's just going to be really, you know, the proof is in the pudding. You know, does he really want this, that type thing? Yeah, because again, going to prison for that long, anything can happen. You don't know if you're going to go home. Right, and that's, you could be going in there, Mr. Goody Two Shoes. You know, this guy's been around the block, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's you know, sticking and moving, you know, kind of a thing. So, she already knows, like, I don't want you to commit more crimes in there, this kind of thing. So he probably doesn't even care about the suspended sentence thing. I mean, it's like, that's such draconian time that he's been given just on this. And so again, it does ensure that if he does get convicted of Harmony's, case, and that's probably more like you're going away for good. I mean, it's going to be on top of each other, right? So it's almost a way of ensuring that he ain't ever going to walk out again. So there's all that. Okay. It will be very interesting. Obviously, we're going to be following this when it comes up in November. And of course, the things that happened before. She is going to do a restitution hearing at some point for these charges and whatnot. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. And again, we're just going to hang tight till November and see what takes place. I mean, I just personally don't think it'll be good. So anyway, that's it. If you are still watching, I greatly appreciate it. Mr. Roscoe appreciates it too. He's been very quiet. No chicken scratching, no nothing. He's just been sitting here letting me kiss him and hold him. But Roscoe says thank you, and he does ask that you drop some sofas in the comment section for him. He does thoroughly enjoy them. And until we meet down in that comment section to continue the commenting on the comments, I'll see y'all soon.